This is Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick. Thanks to NRMA Insurance and Uniden.
Welcome to the show. Great to have your company. Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars. Thanks to the great people at NRMA Insurance, helping over 3 million Australians protect the things they care about the most. And, of course, Uniden Smart Dash Cams. Get a dash cam for your car. If you're buying a beautiful new electric car, get yourself a dash cam, stay safe, stay protected, and get yourself some peace of mind for what happens on the road around you. Stephen Fennick's here. Great to have your company,
Hello,
mate.
Trevor. It's great to be here. Another big week in the EV market. Lots of things happening, lots of things to talk about.
We're going to talk about Tesla. We're going to talk about which states are leading the race to EVs, and that includes hybrids and basically anything eco-friendly. And we're going to take your calls. We've got another Toad owner on the line. Let's see if that person can be offended by my terminology anytime soon.
I don't think so. He actually he contacted me about the interview and he called it a toad.
Right.
I think he adopted that term after he'd heard us talking about it on the show.
I feel like we should register a domain name.
It's affectionately known as the toad. Yes.
But it is it's a big milestone for Tesla. They have opened their 100th Supercharger location in the last few weeks. That's right. And that location is in Glenelg, South Australia. Yep. Now, here's the thing. 100 locations is also different to the number of chargers because physical, charging stalls, there's over 600 of these things. You think about the places where there's 10 or 15 and then the places where there's 2, it averages out, to essentially 6 plus, more than 6 per location, which I think is actually the big story here, something that other companies don't have.
Absolutely right. They really blazed a path, didn't they, for EV travel in Australia. And I understand the first Supercharger was installed in 2014. Yes. So it's taken 10 years to get to the 100th site. And it was only a year ago, though, that they opened it up to non-Tesla vehicles. Did you know that? So now
some of them.
Yeah. No, and not all, you're right, not all of them. Like I think a lot of city-based Superchargers are only for Teslas, but there's a lot of country locations, which I'm sure you've used on your travels.
It's frustrating that they're not all that way, but they're getting there, and it's awesome. Yeah. And look, it's the most expensive juice you can get for your car if you're a non-Tesla owner.
It's a Supercharger, of course. Yeah.
But if you're desperate and you're in need, that's the place to go. Now, I was looking at kind of a comparison here, and I tried to have a look, and I think when we spoke to EV Networks, they said that they were the biggest of the non-Tesla operators out there because I think we kind of intimated that ChargeFox was bigger, and I think he was offended and he kind of said, mate, we're bigger. So I looked at their numbers, just not their accurate today numbers, but their broad, what they publicise. EV Networks would be the only one that comes close to the physical 600 charging posts because they have more than double the number of sites to Tesla. They have over 200 sites.
Right.
But my estimate, given the number of EV chargers I've seen where there's normally 1, 2 or 3, is that they would probably have a count of stalls below or around 500.
Right.
So I think Tesla definitely leading the race on total number of stalls.
They oversupplied, didn't they? Tesla, I think, and it was they were playing the long game. How smart of it was people seeing Tesla Superchargers everywhere. Yeah. People are going to think, well, I'm going to buy Tesla.
Well, mate, one of the photos that I put in my article about this at EFTM.com was of the Yass Supercharger location, which I've been to several times on the way down to Young. Yep. And there is, at a glance, there's 12 stalls there.
Okay.
That's a lot of stalls.
That's heaps. And that's one, obviously, that's for non-EV, non-Tesla.
It's open to non-Tesla cars.
Right.
So, look, we have to rewind a little bit here. And a few months ago, Tesla sacked everyone in their Supercharger division. I had word from a location in Victoria that their rollout was going to stop, so they were getting one at their business in their car park. I did have word in between now and then that they had since heard contact from Tesla, and because it was so far down the path, they were going to continue. Because Tesla, in their announcement here, they announced another 2, 4, 6, 8, probably 12 to 15 sites that are going to open in the next year and a half.
Yeah, I'm looking at that list now. So it's Alexandria, New South Wales, Armidale, Bankstown, Bordertown in South Australia, Cairns in Queensland, Gosford in New South Wales, Mackay in Queensland, Moonee Beach, New South Wales, Morang, Victoria, Narrabri, New South Wales, Parkes, New South Wales, Port Augusta, South Australia, Port Campbell, Victoria, Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Townsville in Queensland, Traralgon in Victoria, and Waterloo in New South Wales.
And I can confirm without giving the details that the Supercharger that I reported on some months ago is in that list there.
Okay, in Victoria.
Yes. It's
we know it's Victoria, so it's either Traralgon, Port Campbell, Meringue.
It's
or
irrelevant.
one of those three.
It's irrelevant which one it is. I wouldn't want to divulge my sources.
But the recent, the Glenelg in South Australia was the 100th. Other recent superchargers also opened up in Hay, New South Wales, Yandina in Queensland, South Melbourne in Victoria, Chatswood in New South Wales, Dee Why in New South Wales, Port Campbell in Victoria, Bright in Victoria. And then
the Glenelg,
which we mentioned.
And look, it's a huge milestone for the best network. I want to just play again on this potential controversy of the future.
Yeah.
There is no. They talk about that it's important to them. There is no extension of that plan past 2025. And I can tell you, there's sites that they have approval for. I'll give you one example. Scone.
Yep.
There's a single charger at Scone from the NRMA. The ChargeFox NRMA, and there is approval for Tesla to have like 6 bays next to it.
Wow.
Scone's not on that list that you just read out.
Okay.
So either it's been shelved because they've cut their cutbacks, or it's 2026 plans. We don't know, and we'll have to wait. We're going to have to wait a year and a half to find out.
How with sort of looking like we've got 100 supercharger sites. Like how would it be wise for sort of businesses to sort of congregate around these sites? Because they know there's going to be people there waiting a little while, 15 minutes to potentially 45 minutes.
The Tesla location on the way down, so near Goulburn, it's called Sutton's Forest. It's before Goulburn. Is in the Heatherbraes Pies car park.
I know where that is.
The EV charger location is on the other side of the highway, in the back end of the car park of the petrol station and McDonald's. But like I'm talking back end. You feel like you're parked out in the middle, in the boondocks. It's not, it's a 50 to 100 metre walk into the Maccas. Whereas the Heatherbrae location is smack bang in their car park. Tesla is far more strategic about where it goes. I don't believe they pay money to the sites. I believe they just say that they're going to bring, because they bring in traffic. There's no doubt that when in the holidays, when those charging bays are full, people are buying meat pies. They're buying milkshakes. That's what they're doing.
Well, it's a business opportunity, isn't it? Like you think about it, it's sensible.
I've said a million times on this show, I still believe there's a genuine business case for a charging location network in a la BP, Shell, in the way that they have locations. It is, however, a loss-leading concept because
at the moment,
it's a huge amount of capital to get the sites, rent the sites. Because I'm saying, forget putting your stuff where the things are. I'm saying build a building with a convenience store, a cafe, a coffee shop, maybe even a restaurant, and a beautiful waiting room, and then a bucket load of chargers. And build it and they will come. That's what I believe the model is, but there's huge capital. If you wanted to roll out, there's 100 Tesla sites. Let's say just on the highways there was 30. So there's 30 of these, buildings. That's, $300 million. Then there's the infrastructure to get the power in. Then there's the running costs. Now, I think it would be like petrol, where you don't make money off petrol. You make money off the Mars bars and the Coke.
That's right.
Cherry ripes, right? So... anyway, I just firmly believe there's a business for it. I just don't believe anyone has the cash to fund it.
So you don't reckon, aren't there already like BPs and the Shells of the world sort of transitioning like that as well?
They're just doing it slowly. They're putting one in, Ampol, one charger. Guys, come on.
Well, I reckon what they should do, their approach should be the number of Bowsers you've got, make that the same number of chargers you've got.
If you go to Pheasant's Nest, again, it was very New South Wales centric, but it's where we are and where we drive, which is... I don't know, an hour out of Sydney. It's kind of an hour and a half from my joint. It used to be just these two dodgy little 7-Elevens. It used to be Caltex and 7-Eleven. And they got just bought and demolished. And Ampol has built these huge service stations with, like your Portos and stuff in them, right? So they're a destination. Huge number of Bowsers. And there's 4 Ampol amp chargers on each side of the highway. Now, it's good. That's 4. But it's like, guys, you could have built 14.
You could have built 10, that's right.
And you could have made a much bigger statement about this being a destination.
While you're at it.
If you think about the passion that our listeners have for their cars, right, and you're not thinking about tapping into that passion.
Oh, yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Well, put it this way, if it's not like an EV driver, many have to, especially if they're driving somewhere for the first time, they've got to plan the route. Even if they've driven, you don't stop at Yass and all these places right? So you don't reckon that once someone discovers, I know this is a place I can charge, I'm going to come here again. So so you don't think that they're going to give you repeat business because it's not like they're going to not need to charge.
The problem is it's not like your local service station. How often are you driving that highway? I drive it maybe 4 times a year. So is that enough? Oh, mate.
So where does this might be a subject for another day, but where does the government come into this? Remember how the state government's
the government's there to make sure that the
and
infrastructure for the power, if someone wants to build 15 chargers, that they can order the infrastructure. The government needs to make sure they can supply the power lines.
Or they just approving?
I don't
or
think
what
they
are they
should
doing?
have to contribute to the business.
Yeah. Because they did say they're going to be building infrastructure.
All these companies, I'm pretty sure EV Networks probably have a staff, and ChargeFox have a staff of people who bid to government for their money.
Some funding,
Every government's announced hundreds of millions of dollars. They're bidding for funding.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just I think the model needs to be more along the line of Tesla. The model isn't EV and ChargeFox. I'm sorry. They're great. They're going to help now, but the future model is a combination of what Tesla's doing and what petrol stations have always done.
Yeah.
And if I was the boss of BP, Ampol, or Shell in Australia, or Reddy, whatever whoever owns them now, I wouldn't go all in on EV. That would be a stupid thing to say. Yeah. But I would audit every site, and I would there's a BP down on Pennant Hills Road over here near us. Yep. And there's a huge area at the back of that, which is not Bowser's, it's not shop. You could put, I reckon, 5. Yeah. Easy. Mate, put them in.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Put them in.
Because it's funny, because every time I come here, I stop off at I think at the Coles. It's a Coles.
Yeah. Ready Express now, yeah.
I go in there, and I go up and I get my coffee and I get my cherry ripe and I get
any
all
fuel
my stuff.
with that?
And he goes, any fuel with that? I said, mate, I've got my EV out there. I don't need fuel. Yeah. So if there was a charger there, I'd tap into that as well.
Exactly.
Why not? Yeah.
2 Blokes Talking Electric Cars. We'll take your calls next, and then we're going to talk about the car sales across the state and how your state is doing. Oh 0477 657 657 if you want to get in touch, if you're thinking of buying an EV, you're in the market for an EV, you've just bought one or you've had one for ages. Yep. Love hearing from people at any stage of their journey, because I think other people love hearing other people too. I'm convinced that's
how they learn.
That is the format that
pick up some nuggets.
I mean, it's lovely hearing you talk about EVs. I'm sure people love hearing me talk about charging networks. Yes. But in reality, I think the learnings, it's the shared learning, it's the peer support. Yeah. This is like a peer support group for EV nuts.
Yeah. Our next caller, I've actually met.
I thought you were going to say our next EV nut.
Our next caller, I've met him, and he's was a fan of the show, and he actually, I met him because he was my transfer in from my hotel in Cairns to the airport.
Oh, la-di-da.
And he picked me up in a Tesla. I said, oh, mate, how good's this? And he's contacted me since and said, look, I'd love to come on your show and talk about EVs. So here he is.
G'day. How are you?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
G'day, Stephen. G'day, Trevor.
So, mate, I just said earlier that we actually met you. You gave me a nice quick ride to the airport early one morning up in Cairns. You're a limo driver up there with a Model Y that you called. We never called it. You called it the Toad as well, didn't you? So,
well, I like that. It's a great name, actually, when I look at it.
Is it a cane toad or is it an affectionate thing, mate? That's the only problem.
Right. Well, it's cane toad country, so.
Yeah. So tell us your story, mate. You got a company up there, so you're a limousine and it's all EVs. So tell us about how much you drive and the charging situation up there in far north Queensland.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I started the business, I was quite horrified at how much we were spending on fuel, and went down the rabbit hole of electric vehicles, and before long, I sort of realised that Tesla was probably miles ahead of everyone. And we took the plunge with a Model Y, and 181,000 Ks later in about 18 months, that is. It's still going strong.
Wow.
We do sort of mostly we do 300K round trips, so that works quite well on the charge.
Right. So your round trips are like these airport transfers and things like that. So you're pretty fixed in your daily driving with the car when you're out and about with clients and things. Yeah.
Yeah, we sort of have a couple of typical runs. One is to Mission Beach, which is the longer one, and that's the 300k round trip, and then Port Douglas, which is 60 odd. So we can do several of them on one charge. And then there's the little short ones like I took you on. So
that begs the most important question, though. What are you doing with charging yourself, and what's the infrastructure like up there outside of what you do?
Yeah, well, the vast majority of the time I can charge at home, and a little bit of it can be done during the day with my solar. So that brings the price down again. I use a few public charges around the place, but I have to say it's still pretty poor, the infrastructure. It's lagging behind significantly, but I still manage pretty well with what I've got.
And so I love that you told us that you are happy to talk about EVs like you are on the show to some of your passengers. So you've educated a few people, I'd imagine, the thousands.
I think you described it to us in your note as number of ignorant punters educated about EVs. I love that.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like you can just about pick the moment they're going to say which piece of FUD. It's just so predictable. It's and it's like the first thing's always how long does it take to charge, and the answer is all sort of how long is a piece of string, and it depends. All chargers are different speeds, and cars take charge at different speeds, and so it's the one about replacing the battery or it catching on fire or
right.
it's.
I've got a new answer for people, EV owners. When someone says how long does it take to charge, you say how long does it take your smartphone to charge?
Yeah.
Because no one knows the answer to that.
Exactly right.
You would be an absolute fanboy to know that your phone charges from 0 to 80 in 25 minutes at 25 watts or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think people know that either. So it's kind of turn it back on itself and say, how long does your phone take? And have you ever noticed that you've run out of battery? No, because you do what you need to do to charge the car.
Good comparison. Now, you've put some Ks on the car too. So I think you're one of the first people we've spoken to that's put this many Ks on an EV. Yeah. And so from the day you got it to now, has nothing changed? It still runs perfectly?
Yeah, just like a new car. 181,000 days in about 18 months. And not a single service.
And have you, do you
I've
run
had
it
two
to...
minor interactions with the service technician, but not on a service basis.
Right. What does that mean? Tell us more.
What happened? Yeah, what happened?
Well, the first time was a month or so in, and I had a poor little wallaby and knocked a sensor out of the bumper. And the technician came to my place and fixed it in the driveway in 15 minutes and $50.
What?
And the other,
Wow.
And then another time was just a window wasn't going up properly, and that was just a quick software fix. So
that is a great experience with two very different issues. To have good interactions with services, because I think you might have heard my story about my car with the parking sensor. I don't know how it got damaged, but $2,500 versus my local mechanic doing it for $300, which included the part. Like, it's just
unbelievable.
You can get ripped, and he goes to the traditional car company model, which is we sell you a car and then we make money in servicing. And I think Tesla is we make the money on the car and then we want to provide you great service. I do get that feeling. I really do.
You also said here, Matt, that you've gone through 4 sets of tyres. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is this because of wear and tear, or you've run over things?
Oh yeah, literally. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of roundabouts in this town.
Yeah.
And a lot of windy roads.
Okay.
And the odd lead foot at the traffic lights.
I also saw in your notes here speeding fine, number of speeding fines classified. We won't be asking you about that, there, will we?
It's not fatal yet, but yeah.
Yeah, take it easy up there, mate.
Something that you've got to keep an eye out for.
So, mate, the amount of time you spend on the road, you'd know where every speed camera is, wouldn't you?
And it's also your profession, so you've got to be more cautious.
Yeah,
with 180,000 Ks under your belt, what's the negative about that car? What's the feedback you give Tesla to redesign or make better the Model Y?
Yeah, I would have to say the door handles piss me off the most.
Wow.
Because
so
you've just
stick
got to
your thumb
explain
in
to
and
every
grab it.
single punter how it works. So it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's sort of when it happens 2,000 times.
They are. I mean,
so that's true.
They're trying to be fancy, but I get whenever I get an Uber with Stig when we're overseas, I normally get an Uber Electric, and often in America it's a Tesla. And every time I see him fumble over how to open that door and how to get out of the car too, because it's a flick switch there as well.
Press a button.
I know you're trying to be smart, but
Yeah.
it is an unnecessary change to a car. Because here's the thing: you put a traditional door handle on a car, and the coefficient of drag changes, right? So the aero efficiency, which affects range, mate. Seriously, a normal door handle is going to add 10 or minus 10 Ks or 100 Ks from the range. Because my guess is it's going to be 10 or 15 Ks.
Yeah. So you see,
on the
you've
door
got
handle?
yeah, on the outside door handle,
Okay.
But you, I can imagine the passengers that get in your car for, I'd say, what, 80% of them probably first time in an electric car,
most likely,
70%.
Yeah.
And so you've got to explain
the
to them
amount of times
how to open the door.
Say, this is the first time in an Uber, and
in
a Tesla.
Now,
so tell me all about it.
Yeah. Well, you've got an awesome opening, topic of conversation, don't you? It's just it's instantly, it's going to be talking about the car. But before we let you go, I have to credit you and acknowledge my next new favorite word or terminology, and that is charging at home. A Tesla Model Y, home is Toad Hall. Well done. That's unbelievable. That's great stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So would you, Matt, next car buy another Tesla, or would you look at other EVs?
I think I'll buy another Tesla. I just gotten back from a trip to Western Australia where I had to hire a car, and I didn't have any Teslas available, so I took a punt on an BYD Atto 3.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of hard work, to be honest. The range was vastly overstated, and the charging speed was really poor as well. So that sort of steered me back to the Tesla. But I'm really looking forward to someone that brings out a decent van with some proper range. So that'd be the only reason that it turned me away.
You don't hear many Tesla owners not consider buying a Tesla again because they're a great car. Like I'll you know what I say about them, but I'll acknowledge they're a great car.
Fantastic.
People that own them love them, and there's no doubt about it. And you're a testament to that, Matt. With 180,000 Ks under your belt, look forward to maybe coming to Cairns one day and getting a ride, my friend.
That'd be great. Great talking to you guys.
Good on you, Matt. Thanks
Thank
heaps.
you.
Thanks for getting in touch. What a legend.
Mate.
180,000 Ks is a phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's the kind of person that Tesla needs to talk to and listen to, because that's very good feedback.
And he'd heard the show.
Yeah.
He'd heard our
What a
show.
legend.
And I said, mate, we'll get you on.
Very good.
Here he is.
Thank you for getting in touch. If you have heard the show, which you're doing right now, and you want to talk EVs,
Tell your friends. Tell everyone.
Friends. Come on, share it. Tell someone else about the show.
What was
Don't
the
just
number?
keep it
I cut off the number.
0477 657 657.
That's Trevor's personal phone number, you know.
Stop it, Stephen. 0477 657 657. All right, well, share it with us. We were having a debate during the sting. It was a very long sting for us.
Our previous caller.
Was he on? I said to you, felt like the audio was interesting. I felt like he was either on speakerphone, on AirPods, or on his mobile phone up to his ear. My guess is he was on AirPods.
Holding phone to my ear.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, really bad echoing, he claims. But it wasn't too bad, was it?
No. I might look at the ducking on the phone line.
The
see if there's
ducking.
anything we can do about that.
Is that like an autocorrect? Is that autocorrect for another word you want to say?
No. Ducking is a thing in
because
in audio.
I never ever on a text message
Have
want to
said
say ducking.
Yeah.
I never want to say ducking.
No, there's a setting about where the audio. Billy Weaver, if he's listening, I don't know if he listens to this show.
Bill,
he
hopefully
could probably
adds it to his
give me some
repertoire.
advice
Yeah.
on what to do there.
yeah, we might reach out to Bill.
I don't want to because he's always very critical of my audio, and I'm just doing my best.
Sarah's a bit sensitive when it comes to.
I'm doing my best, okay?
All right, we are
It's
doing.
hard.
You know what? That's our motto. We just do our best.
We're just doing our best.
We're just doing our best.
Anyone that complains, I'm just going to write that back
Yeah,
now.
if you can just give us a refund if you don't like our work.
If you're listening to a show on Listener or Nova, they've got producers and audio producers and producers above producers. It's called Two Blokes. It's just us.
Just us.
Legit, just us.
So more breaking news from Matt.
Hang on,
Matt,
go on.
He's got back to us. He said, by the way, I'm picking up a second Tesla next month from Brisbane.
Wow.
And driving back 1,700 kilometres where I'll gather more charging intel.
He doesn't mind putting some Ks on the old Tesla,
Well,
does
he
he?
has to, mate. He lives in far north Queensland. Everywhere is a
Do you know
long
what?
drive.
I've decided I don't care about Ks anymore.
Yeah.
Like I want to love my car.
Of course.
Like I thought about the Kia. It's already at 10,000 Ks. It's only on 6
Really?
months.
How many has your Cupra got?
12 or like it's got a bit, 12,
Have a guess how
13.
mine's
Like 5 because you never drive it.
No, it's 6. It's
Yeah,
6.
I was close.
No, 6, nearly 7. Yeah, nearly 7,000.
Oh, dry your eyes,
and
princess.
it's 13 months old.
Yeah, okay,
We've
well
had it
done.
for 13 months.
Like I want to go and visit Mum again soon. I'm like, I'm just going to take the Kia. I love that car.
Of course.
That's a great car.
EV9.
I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the whole way. I don't care.
Put the whole family in it.
Yeah. Well, Amanda won't come. She doesn't love a good drive.
Is that right? She doesn't like to come and see your mother? Or?
No, that's not what I said.
Okay. Oh, she just doesn't like the drive. I'm just asking questions, mate.
If Mum lived next door, she'd visit all the time.
Of course.
Okay.
If she lived next door.
What are you doing to me?
Okay. I'm just
You're
asking
trying
questions.
You're trying to put me in the doghouse?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Love you, babe.
Good on you.
Anyway,
Yeah.
let's
Hi,
talk.
Hi, Mrs. Long.
Apparently, and I might have missed this, but the New South Wales government's investing $500 million to incentivise electric vehicle uptake.
Yep.
They're looking to have, like a lot of governments, 50% of new car sales by 2030 being EV. That is still a lofty goal, I've got to be honest, because that's only 4 and a bit years away. I think it's a BS goal.
Yep.
Anyway, Novated Lease Australia have sent us some data, which I think is fascinating, which breaks down percentages of car sales. Now, when we talk EVs by these numbers, we're talking about battery electric vehicles, so your Teslas, your Mercedes, your Cupras, whatever. Yep. Your plug-in hybrids, so Mitsubishi Outlander,
the old FEVs.
The upcoming Ford Ranger FEV, that kind of thing. Standard hybrids, so your Camrys, your Corollas, those, RAV4s, big sellers.
So basically anything with a little EV badge on it.
If someone can tell me what a HFC EV is.
Hydrogen fuel cell.
Oh, it is too.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
There'd be 3 of those sold, but anyway. So those are the numbers that are broken up here. Stephen, the state that leads is quite remarkable.
It is. It's Western Australia.
Wow.
So according to the stats from Novated Lease Australia, 73.92% of car sales in 2024 are EVs. So
That's just this year.
all the vehicles you've described.
Yep.
Which to me is surprising because Western Australia, everything's far away.
Yeah.
You've got to drive long distances. It's surprising that that state would have
here's
that.
why I think Western Australia takes that number, because we're talking about hybrids.
Yep.
So your Camrys, your RAV4s, they're a very corporate vehicle. So fleets love them because they're buying fuel efficiency. So a fleet, when they buy 10 cars, they don't want to spend on average $100 a week on fuel. They want to spend on average 60, or they want a lower number.
Of course.
And so if you're a mining company or a mining headquarters, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
The cars you want doing all those Ks, you want them to be more eco-friendly. And so it's really indicative of the eco-friendly nature of the place. But here's the thing. It's a staggering number because by percentage of car sales, it's 73% in Western Australia.
So you got to remember too, the number of cars sold in this period in Western Australia was just a touch over 14,000.
Yeah. So
70, let's call it 74% of that.
For perspective, 44,000
of
these style electric vehicles, including hybrids, were sold in New South Wales, and that is only 24% here.
So just under a quarter.
Mate, Western Australia batting way above their average.
And ACT, number 2. ACT have sold 2,146.
If this was Millionaire, I would have guessed ACT as first because, governments want to be green.
Yes.
Again, fleets, government buying.
But it's like it's Western Australia first, daylight second, like 73.92. The next best is ACT at 28.16.
Yeah, but let's talk about the real headline here, how
Yes.
Victoria is lagging behind.
Yeah.
25 New South Wales 44,000
Yep.
and 24%.
Yep.
Victoria 25,000, so almost 20,000 less cars with batteries, basically, whether it's a Corolla or a Cupra, and it's only 16% of their sales.
Yeah, 16.8.
That is phenomenally
And
bad.
Queensland, sort of batting not a bad average either. It's just under New South Wales, 29,724 sold.
Yeah.
22.73% of those are EVs.
It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
So
good old Tasmania.
Well done, Western Australia.
Yeah. Tasmania, 1,963 vehicles, and 20% of those are EVs. The Northern Territory, 951, and 18.29% are classed as EVs in 2024. These are this year's numbers.
Mate, it's impressive for Western Australia. Shout out to the WA listeners.
Good on you.
EV owners.
Yeah.
And again, it's important to factor in because, certainly in New South Wales and I think a lot of other states, they're putting an EV sticker on number plates so that fireys and emergency services can see when there's a battery involved in a car, which is important. But, it's even when including hybrids, which is all about basically saying this is a green move, which I think we should applaud. Mate, Western Australia on fire.
Yeah, they are. And it's... You think of this was gathered, of course, through novated leases. So a lot of people buy their cars through.
That's true.
They lease them.
Yeah.
I know I have.
Well, look, these numbers are sales numbers from the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries,
gathered
not just
by novated lease.
Yeah, they want to push that fact because they're selling cars to companies that want to show how good they're doing when it comes to fuel efficiency and the green agenda.
Absolutely right.
Well done, Western Australia. Good job.
But it's moving up. It's moving in the right direction.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see the next few months.
See if Victoria can lift their game.
They're useless. They're not going to happen. Okay, what are you doing, Victoria? Come
Why
on.
is that? Can you think of a reason why that would be?
Complacency.
Really?
AFL would play a part. Can someone explain that sport to me?
I know.
It's running around kicking the ball. It doesn't make any sense.
In all
the
seriousness,
ball can go out.
I agree, mate. It's a 2
The
hour.
person can be standing outside the ground and the ball's still in.
I'm a league man. I consider AFL, it's a 2 hour knock on. So that's what I think.
2 hour knock on.
So, but Victorians, I'm just trying to think. Now, you've heard this probably too. Like, there's a lot of people who are resistant to EVs for a number of reasons. Range anxiety and all these other reasons. But another reason is they love the sound of an engine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who just I like hear in the car. Yeah. It'd be like, I don't know, you musicians, they like the sound because they it's what they do. So
that's a good segue. In a couple of weeks, or maybe next week, we will talk to a young lady called Holly Espray, who is a Super Ute driver. She has a race car.
Super Ute.
So V8 Super Ute, like the whole throttle. Yep. She's a racer. Yep. And Uniden have sponsored her for the Bathurst 1000. So she's in the support category. EFTM's on the side of the car as well. It looks great.
Wow.
But here's what I did. So she's a rev head. She's a great driver. She's a race driver. I got her a Genesis SUV to drive for 3 weeks. So we're going to talk to her either next week or the week after. We're going to find out how Holly, the race car driver, thought the EV experience went. It wasn't her first EV experience, I'm told. I think she's thrashed a few around racetracks as a test driver.
I'm sure she has.
But as a daily driver, it'll be fascinating to see what she thinks. So we'll talk to her next week or the week after, Steve.
Very good. Look forward to it.
Love to hear from you as well. 0477 657 657 here on Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars. We'll be back next week, Stephen. See you then.
Take it easy.